On November 21st, today, we celebrate a second great feast of the Theotokos into the temple. If you remember, our calendar year, ecclesiastical year, begins at September the 1st. And the first of these great feasts was the birth of the Theotokos on September 8th. It is fitting that at the start of this time of preparation for Christmas, our thoughts should turn to the Mother of God, whose humble and silent expectation should be the model of our own expectation during this season of the Advent. The nearer we draw to the example of Mary through our prayer, obedience, and our purity, the more will be formed in us He who is about to be born. According to tradition, Mary's parents, Joachim and Anna, were childless and prayed fervently to the Lord to be granted a child. They vowed that they would dedicate the child to God. When Mary was born, her parents took her at the age of 3 to the temple in Jerusalem, where she stayed for 12 years. The age of 3. She lived in the Holy of Holies, under the care of the temple priests and the angels. All of the hymns of this feast day celebrate in various ways this tradition, which intends to give us not so much precise historical information, but rather to lift up the holiness of Mary and her spiritual preparation to receive Christ in her womb. As one of the hymns proclaims, "Today the living temple of the great King enters into the temple to be prepared as a divine dwelling place for him. O people, rejoice." Another hymn expresses the joy of the feast in this way. The Most Holy Virgin, temple that is to hold God, is dedicated within the temple of the Lord. And young girls bearing lamps now go before her. Her noble parents, Joachim and Anna, leap for joy and dance, for they have given birth to her who is to bear the Creator. And she, the most pure, with rejoicing, goes round the temple, habitations, and listen to this, and is fed by the hands of an angel. She was chosen to be the mother of Christ, the Lord who grants the world great mercy. And that from the great Vesper hymn for the feast of the entry of the Theotokos. In the Orthodox Church, the feasts of the Theotokos always point to the fulfillment of God's plan of salvation through Christ. All of the Orthodox icons of the Virgin Mary should depict her not in isolation, but holding Christ in her arms. So also the hymns of her feast praise her not for her own sake, but for her faithful role as a willing instrument of God's purposes. The main hymn of the feast of the entry into the temple celebrates the good news of salvation with these words: Today is the foreshadowing of the grace of God and the good news of the heralding of our salvation. The Virgin is manifest in the temple of God, and beforehand she announces Christ to all. Let us therefore sing to her with a mighty voice. Hail, you are the fulfillment of the Creator's dispensation. Amen.